Recently, new footage of Iran's secret underground military bases has taken the spotlight in international media. These enormous structures, built deep beneath the surface, are designed to store a large arsenal of ballistic missiles. Their sheer size, impressive engineering, and strategic purpose have left the global community stunned. In this video, we'll explore these bases in detail, including their locations, the missiles they hold, and why Iran has invested in building such heavily fortified facilities. We'll also discuss the U.S. response to these revelations, including reactions from Donald Trump and the potential actions that might follow. Iran's underground military bases, often called missile cities, are a cornerstone of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps strategy. These highly fortified facilities are buried deep underground, making them resilient against airstrikes and satellite surveillance. Construction of these bases began in the 1980s, and Iran has since expanded them using advanced engineering technologies. Purpose and structure. The primary objective of these bases is to protect Iran's missile arsenal from potential attacks and ensure secrecy during missile preparation and launches. They consist of extensive underground tunnels and hangars that house missile launchers, command centers, and storage facilities. While most base locations remain classified, many are situated in strategically significant areas. Southern provinces, overseeing the Persian Gulf, a critical route for global oil supplies. Central Iran. Mountainous regions provide natural protection against airstrikes. Persian Gulf coastline, positioned to target nearby nations, including Saudi Arabia, Israel, and U.S. military bases. These bases are heavily guarded and undergo constant modernization to maintain their strategic advantage. Missile arsenal and capabilities. Iran's underground facilities house an array of ballistic missiles integral to its defense and offensive strategies. Key missiles include the Shahab-3, Ahmad, and Khorramshahr, with ranges of up to 2,000 kilometers. These missiles can carry conventional warheads, and, if Iran acquires the necessary technology, nuclear warheads as well. Development history. Iran's missile program gained momentum during the Iran-Iraq War in the 1980s, when it faced a shortage of modern weaponry. Initially reliant on support from countries like China, North Korea, and Russia, Iran eventually developed its own production capabilities. Today, it claims that its missiles are entirely domestically produced. Strategic importance. Iran's missile arsenal serves multiple purposes: deterrence, protecting against perceived external threats, particularly from the U.S., Israel, and Saudi Arabia. Regional influence. Medium-range missiles enhance Iran's power projection in the Middle East. Global reactions and U.S. measures. The existence of these underground bases has raised alarms in Washington. The United States has responded by increasing pressure on Iran through sanctions and diplomatic efforts. Measures include stricter sanctions aimed at limiting funding for Iran's missile program, collaborating with the United Nations and allies to push for greater transparency in Iran's military activities, strengthening ties with Israel to counter the perceived threat from Iran. The potential return of Donald Trump to the U.S. presidency could escalate tensions further, as his administration previously withdrew from the 2015 nuclear deal and imposed tougher sanctions on Iran. There is speculation that military strikes on strategic Iranian facilities, including missile bases, might be considered. Iran's underground missile bases remain a critical component of its defense strategy, symbolizing its determination to maintain regional influence and counter external threats. However, their existence continues to fuel tensions on the global stage. The United States primarily relies on sanctions as its main tool to address issues with Iran, targeting companies and organizations linked to Iran's missile program. Iran's underground bases play a key role in its military strategy, offering protection for its missile arsenal and demonstrating the country's resilience against external threats. However, these bases also pose significant challenges to global security. The growing capabilities of Iran's missile program have raised concerns among the U.S. and its allies, potentially escalating tensions in the region. The future of this situation will hinge on diplomatic efforts and the willingness of all parties to reach a compromise. Iran's military, officially known as the Armed Forces of the Islamic Republic of Iran, is one of the largest and most powerful in the Middle East. Its structure, size, arsenal, and strategies reflect Iran's goals to not only defend its borders, but also project military power on both regional and global stages. In a potential conflict with the United States, Iran has both strengths and vulnerabilities that could shape the outcome. The Iranian armed forces are divided into two main branches. The regular army, known as the Artesh, focuses on border security and national defense, consisting of ground forces, an air force, and a navy, with approximately 420,000 personnel. The second and more dominant force is the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, established after the 1979 Islamic Revolution. The IRGC is tasked with protecting Iran's political system, managing the missile program, overseeing underground bases, conducting operations abroad, and maintaining internal security. It also controls the Basyaj, a volunteer paramilitary force that can be mobilized during wartime. The Basij's numbers are estimated to be in the millions, allowing Iran to rapidly assemble a massive army if needed. Iran's military strategy emphasizes developing technology and weapon systems to counter the more advanced equipment of NATO countries. Key priorities include improving artillery, tanks, and multiple rocket launch systems to enhance their combat capabilities despite limited access to modern systems. One of the weaknesses in Iran's military is its air force, which still relies on outdated American and Soviet-era aircraft like the F-4, F-14, and MiG-29. However, Iran has made significant strides in developing its drone program. Their drones, including strike and reconnaissance models like the Shahed 136, play a key role in asymmetric warfare. When it comes to adversaries, Iran's primary opponent is, of course, the United States. The U.S. military far outmatches Iran in capabilities, boasting advanced technologies like aircraft carrier strike groups, cutting-edge aircraft such as the F-22 and F-35, and a vast network of military bases in the Middle East. These bases are strategically positioned in countries like Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, and Saudi Arabia. On top of that, the U.S. has an extensive arsenal of cruise missiles and highly developed cyber warfare capabilities. Despite this overwhelming power, a direct conflict between the U.S. and Iran would be disastrous, not just for the region but for the global economy. For example, if Iran were to block the Strait of Hormuz, oil prices would skyrocket, causing global economic turmoil. Meanwhile, Iranian strikes on U.S. allies could destabilize the already volatile Middle East. Because of these high stakes, both sides typically avoid direct confrontation. Instead, they rely on shows of strength and diplomatic pressure. But with tensions running high, even a minor miscalculation or provocation could spiral into a full-blown war. A major concern for the international community is Iran's network of underground military bases. These facilities could potentially house, develop, or launch nuclear weapons. Although Iran officially claims its nuclear program is for peaceful purposes, the secrecy surrounding these sites raises serious suspicions. Iran has been building underground facilities for years, long before the international community became aware of them. For example, the Fordo uranium enrichment plant is buried deep underground, making it almost immune to airstrikes. These facilities are specifically designed to withstand military attacks, allowing Iran to continue its nuclear activities even under threat. This underground infrastructure poses a significant threat not just to regional rivals like Israel and Saudi Arabia, but also to global security. Without transparency from Iran and stricter oversight from the international community, the risk of a nuclear conflict remains a very real and alarming possibility. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe this channel for more updates. See you in next video.